Well, Italy's Deputy Health Minister, Pierpaolo Sileri, tested positive for COVID-19 earlier this month, but has since recovered, telling an Italian newspaper, and I quote him here, "During the worst moment of the illness, I thought I could die, and I was scared of leaving alone my wife and letting my son grow up without a father like me." Well, Pierpaolo Sileri joining us now from Rome. Mr. Sileri, how are you feeling now?
Good afternoon. Thank you for your kind invitation. I'm very well. I'm out of this. I did the two swab, are both negative, so I'm back I'm back to my activity.
Yeah, excellent. Well, there had been some hope that the worst might be over in Italy. Sadly, the numbers don't seem to bear that out. That doesn't seem to be the case. What is the latest where you are?
What's happening is the number are decreasing. I mean, it's not a huge decrease, but numbers are going down. I don't know if we did reach the peak or if we are in the middle of the peak. Most likely, during this week, we will observe a reduction of the number of infected people. And this is mainly due to the lockdown of Italy that we did at the beginning of this month, starting from the 8th and the 9th of March. We reduce basically the majority of the activities. So I believe that this will reduce quite a lot the number of infected people over the next few days.
Well, and I want to talk about that lockdown momentarily, but first, Italy is only testing people with severe symptoms, as I understand it, and experts say the true number of infected people may be 10 times higher. How concerned are you?
We did start to do more tests, and there was a variability between regions in Italy. Obviously, the huge hit was in Lombardia, and there were some problems to do tests to everyone. And I mean, this is reasonable, obviously. But I believe tests should be performed to everyone has symptoms, even if are very, very small symptoms. Because you may start with some conjunctivitis or just, you know, small fever, and you should be tested then. Especially then if you are somebody very close to somebody who is positive. So I think a larger use of the test is demanded.
Even if the numbers go higher, sir?
Even if numbers goes high, especially now, because you know, if you have a reduction of the infection, you may have other small outbreaks, you know, in Italy, spurs in Italy. So where do you have new outbreaks? There you have to confine and check and do more swabs.
So we were talking about the lockdown, and you have suggested that you genuinely believe the lockdown that started, you know, a week into the month of March has really helped to contain what otherwise might be a much wider spread. Italian mayors across the country have been appealing for people to stay at home. There are still people who are not following government orders. Firstly, what is your message to them? And how long do you think this lockdown goes on?
Okay, I will answer to the second question as a first, because this is very difficult to say. As soon as we have a number of infected people like we observe now, obviously we cannot do any prevision of how long we will be like this. Obviously, we need few weeks. It's too early to say when we are going to end all this. Regarding the people who are, I think that the majority of the Italians are respecting our rules. I mean, it's just a minority of people, less than 5% probably, they are still going out, and these numbers are reducing every day. People are very, very, you know, the compliance is very high. So people are following our rules, very, very responsible. So obviously, I hope that people will follow these rules for, you know, the next weeks, obviously.
And so I want to finish on an optimistic note. And we started this interview by you suggesting that you are hoping that the peak might come by as early as the end of this week. So, you know, if you could just provide a message, if you will, for the rest of the world that may be somewhat behind you. What can other countries learn from Italy's experience?
Two things to be done. The first is the lockdown. It's the most important way to stop the passage of the virus from one man to another man. The other things that improve, enhance your health system. So increase the ICU bed, increase the infectious and lung disease wards. We did increase the beds for ICU by 60%.
Okay.
We increased the numbers of the lung disease and infectious disease beds from 7,000 to 26,000.
All right. I'm going to...
So this is the most important thing.